What is going on, guys? I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the channel. And before we start, I'm going to ask you guys to please subscribe to the channel for more NBA content like this. And also, if you do enjoy this video, please be sure to leave a like. It makes a big difference in helping this channel grow, and I will greatly appreciate it. All right, in today's video, I want to talk about the Chicago Bulls. I mentioned in the last video that I wanted to talk more in depth about how I felt about the Chicago Bulls because they're an interesting team right now. And because I'm a Bulls fan, I feel like I have to get my Bulls rants in every once in a while. And I felt like I can get one in right now. And the reason I want to talk about them is because they're in an interesting spot. Meaning they are somewhere in the middle of where you would rank teams in the NBA. Because, you know, in this video, I mentioned in the title, it says, are the Chicago Bulls, contenders? Right? Can they compete with other teams in the East? And that question is honestly kind of tough to answer because there's a lot of things that have to go right for this team. Now, first, let's talk about what they did in the offseason, which is really nothing. Coming into the season, there were very clear what the needs were on this roster, right? Especially what we saw after last season, which, for the first time in 5 years, we made the playoffs, which is great. But now it's like, okay, we're a consistent team. How can we take the next step? The biggest problems were we needed perimeter defense, we needed more shooters, and we needed a legit inside presence on defense because Vooch was not the answer, right? Vucevic isn't the answer, clearly there. And what did they do in the offseason? They signed Andre Drummond and Goran Dragic. That's it. That's all they did in the offseason. Heading into the offseason, I was thinking about getting guys like Isaiah Hartenstein, maybe Mo Bamba, right? Maybe Nicholas Batum, maybe Robert Covington, no big names, but guys that are going to add more depth and guys that are actually going to fill needs on this roster. Andre Drummond and Goran Dragic don't do that. Andre Drummond, it's been very clear for years now, he's not the same player he was in his younger years in Detroit. He really doesn't bring much to the team other than rebounding. And honestly, Vooch is a good rebounder. So we really didn't upgrade much at the center position. Could he be a better backup than what Tristan Thompson was last year? Absolutely, but the bar is in hell because Tristan was terrible for this team. And then for Goran Dragic, why add another guard? What was the need? You have so many guards on this roster. Lonzo Ball, Ayo Dosunmu, Alex Caruso, Zach LaVine, Kobe White. There's so many guards on this roster. What did you need Goran Dragic for? I didn't understand that move. I still don't, to be honest, right? The only thing I see it is if Lonzo Ball's injury is going to keep him out for the start of the year and you need an insurance policy. But to be fair, if you want an insurance policy, you have two on your roster, right? So I just do not understand what Goran Dragic is there for. Apparently, Vooch recruited him. Apparently, Vooch has a lot of leverage in this organization because he recruited DeMar, which is awesome. But he's also recruiting Goran Dragic for no fucking reason. But yeah, this team didn't do anything in the offseason, man. And it's unfortunate because it felt like there was a real opportunity to upgrade this roster significantly, especially when you have teams in the East that are getting better. The Sixers got better, right? Because they got PJ Tucker, right? Some good depth for them. The Celtics got better. The team that just went to the finals, they didn't get complacent and say, oh, we're going to run it back with the roster. They said, no, we're going to get better. We're going to get Malcolm Brogdon, right? They did a good trade and got a really good player when healthy, right? That fills a need for them, right? The Celtics did that, man. And then the Hawks got DeJounte Murray. A bunch of teams in the East did moves to improve their rosters, and the Bulls just stood pat. And I know that this front office talked a lot about, continuity, right? Running it back with the roster. It's important to have that chemistry there. And to a certain extent, I agree with that. But at the expense of what? Keeping the same roster, knowing that there really isn't competitiveness in the East that you're going to have with this roster. You're not going to compete with Boston. You're not going to compete with Milwaukee. You're just not. I don't see why the urgency to, the stress of continuity, what this is going to do for them, right? Maybe another year under the system, with this roster, maybe it helps them be better as a team, but I just don't know that. We don't know that. There's a decent amount of risk that goes into this because God knows what could happen, but they could regress too. That's very possible. DeMar DeRozan is 32. right? I don't think anyone expects him to have the insane season he had last year, right? Vooch is 32 and has already had a terrible season last year. He was bad last year, man. And the fact that we couldn't really figure anything out, like any solution for his replacement or his backup, that's unfortunate, right? Like, I wanted them to get Rudy Gobert, but then when you saw what Minnesota had to give up, I understood right away that, you know what, I'm glad we didn't do that. But it still feels like there's something there that they could have done, because this roster as a whole is not a bad roster. I'm not trying to say it is, right? Because a starting lineup with Lonzo Ball, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Patrick Williams, and Nikola Vucevic is a good roster. That's a good starting five. You have good players on the bench with Ayo Dosunmu, Alex Caruso, Javonte Green, who was really good last year. But, like, that's it, man. There's nothing else on this roster to be excited about, especially on the bench, right? And the depth was their biggest issue because of injuries. And that leads me to my next point, man. The front office stressed that this team was really good when healthy, right? They were a number 1 seed when they were healthy, before everything fell apart with Lonzo Ball and Zach LaVine and everything, right? And I think that's fair because, yes, who knows what this team could have done if they were healthy, right? If Lonzo Ball never got hurt, would the Bulls have slid all the way down to 6 like they did? Would they have fell off the map like they completely did in the second half of the season, right? What would have happened if Zach LaVine's knees weren't giving up every few weeks, it seemed like, right? Because he was always dealing with some nagging injury the entire season, and he still had a really good year. I feel like they're just kind of banking on, right, Lonzo Ball's going to be healthy, but we don't even know that, to be honest, because our updates haven't been good there either. He got a surgery in January, and we're still thinking about, oh my god, can he even be ready for training camp? It's been 8 months since that surgery, right? And he's still having problems in the ramp-up process. Like, that's scary, man. So you can basically just expect Lonzo Ball not to be fully healthy this season. He's going to miss a decent amount of games. So that already sucks. Zach LaVine, I don't think I'm too worried about that, to be honest. Like, we re-signed him, we gave him the max, which was awesome. But in terms of his injury, I'm not too worried about that, because even when he was healthy, he was really good. Or, sorry, when he was dealing with the knee stuff, he was still really good. But you know what a difference it can make, right? When he's fully healthy, how much of a stud he is. So to me, this season is like, it's tough, because I really don't know where they're going to end up in the East, because my guess is they're going to be a 6 seed again, right? That's kind of the range that I see them doing, because to me, at least on paper, right, they're not better than Boston, they're not better than Milwaukee, they're not better than Philly. Maybe they're better than Toronto. I still don't know that either. Like, the Raptors to me are like an interesting team, because the Bulls and them to me are like in the same tier of, they're going to be a really good regular season team, but they're not considered all world championship contenders, but they're still good teams. So I feel like they're in the same tier with the Raptors and the Hawks to me, but I just don't know, man. It's tough for me as a fan to be like excited about the season. I'm going to be excited regardless, because I'm a Bulls fan, and to be fair, this is a good roster that's really fun to watch when they're all healthy, right? So they'll be worth watching, obviously, but I think that Bulls fans should just kind of temper their expectations for this year, right? To me, the one thing that you can get excited about maybe is, can Patrick Williams take the leap? But we've been saying that for a couple years now, that, when he takes the leap, it's going to elevate their ceiling, right? We keep hearing that, and that's part of why there were a bunch of trades that never went down, right? Apparently the Bulls didn't want to give up Patrick Williams to get Rudy Gobert. Like, I don't know, man. Patrick Williams is entering year 3, and he hasn't shown much. To be fair, he did miss a lot of last year, but even when he did play, he didn't do much, and he wasn't really involved in the offense. Like, if he's going to take a year 3 leap, like everyone in the front office keeps saying, right? If AK and Billy Donovan keep saying that, Patrick Williams is going to take this leap, or at least they believe they do, then actually make him a part of that. Like, actually get him involved in the offense, right? And he also cannot be too passive. He needs to work on his game too. So, maybe Patrick Williams elevates his game, and that kind of, makes things interesting for them. But I still don't know. Like, this is not a championship contender, right? I said it right away. So, for me, the expectations that I have for this team are basically the same as last year, which sucks, because I really thought that it was going to be like, okay, We finally got relevance again. We're a playoff team now, and now we can strike hot and become a championship contender. And they didn't do that, which sucks, because it's still like everyone kind of knows like what their ceiling is. So I don't know. It is what it is. I'm still gonna watch regardless because I'm a fan. They'll be a fun team to watch. I pray that Lonzo Ball is back healthy because he's such a fun player to watch, and we know how much of an impact he is for this team, especially defensively and especially with the shooting. So hopefully this group gets healthy. Hopefully Zach LaVine, you know, now that he is here long term, he got his money, his well-deserved money. Hopefully now he can really like elevate his game to maybe become an all-NBA player next year. That would be dope to watch if he can do that. Like if he can have a season like DeMar DeRozan had last year, that would be awesome. But other than that, you know, let's see. Just make the playoffs and be competitive, right? That's my expectations for this team. And you know what, to be fair, it's been like multiple years since we've seen that, because the Bulls were the bottom of the barrel forever. So being a consistent playoff team and being competitive, I'm okay with that. I've kind of accepted that. With this core, there's not going to be a championship to be going after. But you know what? Be a good team, win 50 games or so, be a top 5 seed maybe if you're lucky, and you know, don't shit the bed in the playoffs. That would be nice, right? Like if you have a first round matchup against, I don't know, Philly for example, like give them hell. Give them 7 games, right? Make it 6 or 7 games and give them hell. Maybe make it into the second round depending on the matchup, right? That's what I'm kind of expecting for this season. Am I expecting a championship? No, and I hope Bulls fans aren't, because you are going to be disappointed. So yeah, I kind of wanted to get my thoughts off on this video, just how I feel as a Bulls fan entering the season, where my expectations are for this current roster as it stands, knowing there wasn't much done in the offseason. Also, by the way, fuck Jerry Reinsdorf, because his cheap ass is the reason the Bulls didn't do anything in the offseason, because he's so obsessed with not going over the tax just to get his own little $100,000 award. Fuck him and fuck his family, that cheap motherfucker. He does the same thing with the White Sox too. Chicago is notoriously cheap for all their sports, despite being the 3rd biggest market in the country. I do not get it. I never will get it. Okay, I had to get that off too. But yeah, that's basically it for this video, getting my thoughts off on the Bulls. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy, please be sure to leave a like and comment down below what you think about this Bulls team, if you're a fan or if you're not. What do you think this team can do? How many wins? What seed do you think they'll be in the Eastern Conference? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And if you haven't already, please be sure to hit that subscribe button for more NBA content like this. And that's basically it. Thank you guys for your support, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.